A federal grand jury in Roanoke returned an indictment last week charging a man from Fieldale, Virginia, Fieldale being located in Henry County. He was charged with engaging in a fraud scheme in connection with a residential real estate transaction valued at more than $1.3 million. In a news release from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Virginia, court documents say that 40-year-old Herman Lee Estes Jr., who was on federal pretrial supervision due to an illegal firearms charge, contacted a real estate agent on January the 17th inquiring about purchasing a Roanoke County property then listed at $1.2 million. The indictment alleges that Estes falsely represented to the agent that he was due a tax refund of $18 million, which would be transferred to his estate as part of a trust. On January the 25th, Estes pled guilty to a federal firearms charge and remained on pretrial release pending sentencing. In March, Estes contacted the real estate agent again, falsely stating that his tax refund had cleared and he was ready to move forward with the purchase of the property. At Estes' direction, the real estate agent prepared a cash offer for the property in the amount of $1.3 million. The news release said to prove he had the funds available, Estes provided a letter dated March the 29th, which indicated he had been approved for a private real estate loan in the amount of $1,315,000. Estes also provided the real estate agent a phone number for a person he represented to be the manager of his purported trust. The real estate agent contacted the individual who falsely claimed to be Estes' trust manager and then approved the cash offer. On April the 10th, Estes provided the settlement company a 62-page extension of credit document, which he represented to be trust documents as part of the closing procedures. Estes stated that he did not deal with public banks, but rather dealt directly with the Federal Reserve Bank. Estes allegedly paid for the property with a fraudulent cashier's check purported to be drawn from the Federal Reserve Bank in Richmond in the amount of $1,307,199.43. Now, he shipped the check via FedEx, and that was on April the 12th. On April the 13th, the fraudulent check was deposited by a settlement company into American National Bank and Trust. Closing for the sale occurred the following day. The deed was recorded with the Circuit Court of Roanoke County, and Estes took possession of the property. But on April the 17th, the purported cashier's check was returned by the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond and marked as fraudulent. Estes is charged with one count of bank fraud, one count of wire fraud, and one count of mail fraud, all while committing the offenses on federal pretrial release. If convicted, he faces a maximum penalty of 40 years in prison. A federal district judge will determine any sentencing after considering the U.S. sentencing guidelines and other statutory factors. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, which handled the previous firearms investigation, is investigating the case with assistance from the Internal Revenue Service. The Federal Reserve Board, the Office of the Inspector General, and the Roanoke County Police Department also assisted in this investigation.